Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam!
You know, I think the Kings fired that guy.
It sounds like Flick the Bean.
Hey. Welcome in to another, the Monday night edition of the Sports Cave with Biggest Puma. I am your host, as always, Sam Freeze. If you want to reach out to me, I can pass the message along to the rest of the program. You can find me on X at Biggest Puma, on Instagram, biggest.puma. Of course, old school on Facebook. Just search Sam Freese, F-R-E-A-S.
Hey, Twitter world.
There's not many of us out there, so should be easy to find. No, I think the Kings, I think when they cleaned house and got rid of head coach, GM, I think they fired the guy. They called him the Beam Squad. The guy that came up with
Beam Squad.
The guy that came up with the light the beam bit. The originator of the beam.
He was smoking some beam.
Look, hey, all I'm saying is when you come up with a bit so stupid and so bad, it's instantly embraced. That's a great bit. That's a great bit automatically.
What was that one call? And not whammy. That was Anchorman. And boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, the boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
That poor kid. Look, all he was ever doing was trying to get some tape out there. He was trying to become a better broadcaster.
He was channeling his inner Chris Berman, dude. You know.
Well,
whoop.
If you're gonna channel an inner Chris Berman, you gotta have something resembling an inner Chris Berman, and I think that was his biggest problem.
Yeah, you got to work up to that one.
Now, as always, I am joined here by the crew, by the boys. Cap across from me, LG in a room.
We got Greg on the chat
already, and boys, we find ourselves a week away from the NBA draft lottery.
I thought it was tonight. I'm like sitting there flicking around. I'm like, I knew it was a Monday. I didn't know what Monday, but now I know it's next Monday.
Well, that's what we're here for, to remind you. We are 7 days away from what could turn out to be an extremely, extremely consequential NBA draft lottery, specifically, of course, speaking from a Spurs perspective. We're going to have a lot of Spurs talk in the main segment today. Obviously, the news, Spurs did the press conference this morning.
Let's throw it to LG. How can they get a hold of us, LG? And how can they support us?
What? I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I'm just kidding. You can support us by giving us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/sportscavelive. And then subscribe. That's the main thing we need you to do.
Please.
Subscribe to this program. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your side piece. At Sports Cave Live on YouTube.
We keep all secrets.
Yep. Won't cost you a penny.
No, it's free.
Even if you don't watch videos, if you're listening to this on the iHeart app or on Spotify, go make sure you still go to YouTube and subscribe so that we can get those numbers up, because
trying to get that YouTube money.
Yeah. While we were on the topic, we'll just take care of some housekeeping at the top here. I mentioned we're going to talk a lot of Spurs in the main segment. Of course, we'll get to our lightning round at the end. And since it is Monday night, start with a little weekend recap. But some housekeeping at the top. First of all, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Hey, yes. It's not the Spanish Inquisition I found I'm playing.
No, where are you going with this? Are you about to sing a Mel Brooks song?
I feel like we're in a Spanish Inquisition. Yes, no. Their Day of Freedom. This is their 4th of July.
Yeah, it's the defeat the French at the Battle of Pueblo.
Yeah, so Americans can take their land.
Well, give it time. I immediately woke up wondering to myself, how does Wemby feel about Cinco de Mayo?
Ooh.
Of French heritage. Like, do the French in their...
We got to save you again in WW2.
In their, elementary history lessons in their classroom, do they look on the Battle of Puebla as a national moment of French embarrassment, or like thinking about?
I think they were more concentrating and conquering over in Europe. Is that Napoleon days? Because the Louisiana Purchase, seems like the French didn't really care about, the Midwest.
Oh, they were highly invested in what would become the southern United States.
Yeah.
And of course, it feels very cheap to Cinco de Mayo to have it the day after Fiesta ends.
Yeah,
because it kind of feels. I mean, we've had 2 weeks of partying.
Do they do that on purpose? Like, and the last day is Cinco de Mayo for the siesta, the day of rest.
No, but that would be perfect. I think it can only work out that way.
Every
7 years, something like that. Yeah. But no, housekeeping here at the top. Besides Cinco de Mayo and my friend Roach's birthday. It also Cap's recent birthday a couple days ago, yesterday.
Keep it guessing. Don't be tracking down my government.
Now you just need the last 4 of his social, and you can get everything. No, housekeeping.
You can take my crippling debt.
We have been teasing the fact that this is a soft opening of the program here. I think we're ready to open up a little bit more to the public starting this week.
Yeah,
we have been talking amongst ourselves as the Brain Trust here. I think we're ready to roll out some Wednesday night live shows.
Yeah, especially during this playoff season, man. The playoffs have been real good.
Great for a casual.
Yeah.
Great for if you don't have a dog in the, Spurs fan doesn't care who's, besides the emotions of who you're going to root for between the Rockets and the Warriors. You hate them both. But, for the casual basketball and hockey fan, the playoffs, the first round was amazing.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that in the lightning round. But
what's the Knicks Boston, that classic series?
It was at halftime right before we went on here. I would expect that one to be a long one. But main takeaway here, expect to see us Monday and Wednesday nights live going forward here on YouTube.
80-84 Boston. But we're in the fourth quarter. I'll keep you updated on that one.
We're going to talk part of the main segment, obviously a lot of pop, but also I wanted to revisit some of my preseason over/under predictions. I went back. I have 3 of my notebooks here, so you can tell.
See, you write it down. I like to just be like, no, I said that. I said that they were going to be over. No, you didn't.
You gotta have it on tape. You gotta have it on tape.
Run it.
So I had it on tape, and we'll revisit some of those as well as a bit of the preseason predictions, player awards, stuff like that. We'll burn through those in the main segment. But
shout out to Tammy and Rob on the chat.
As always, Monday nights we start with a little bit of a weekend recap, and I'm going to admit something to you boys. I'm a bit ashamed of my weekend recap, so I'm not going first.
Yes,
I'm saving. I need to at least I need a baseball minute or something to cleanse my palate before I get into.
Let's go with LG. Tell me something, LG.
Why y'all keep deferring to me for everything?
Because did someone send you something to pull up a clip? Was that
you might have done that?
Did you get a text message?
Okay. Is this what you're? Okay, I thought we were doing.
I mean, you were yelling at me just like 5 minutes ago. You didn't send me anything.
Let me see what you sent me.
Oh, do we have hostility amongst the players?
He was so sure of himself, and I'm like, I'm looking at it
because
here.
The last thing you sent me was at 1:33 a.m. It says want to do a podcast after dark. And I was asleep. That was Saturday night.
Yeah, what was the timestamp on that text message again?
1:33 a.m. Yeah.
Something I've learned about.
Hey, I love the night.
The other morning, I woke up and was looking at my phone, and I think I correct me if I'm wrong. I think I received a text message from you at 4:06.
Oh yeah,
with a suggestion. You were talking about. Oh, man, we forgot to mention this on the draft episode. It was something that had some other talking point.
Dude, I watch like old 80s movies, and I think I was watching Masters of the Universe, and something just popped in my head.
Terrible movie.
Oh, sweet Dolph Lundgren.
But
Are you kidding me?
The movie itself is terrible. I mean, it's
the magic key. You get to play that little accordion.
Dude, I wanted one of those so bad.
Yeah, you literally you get to play the instrument they teach you in elementary school. It's so badass, bro. Like, look, I was raised, born in the mid '80s, forced to watch a lot of bad '80s movies as a kid. There aren't many that hold up.
Atreus.
Okay, well, Atreyu.
Atreyu.
Yeah. Now, hold on.
Atreyu.
If we're gonna start bad mouthing Atreyu,
You badmouth Masters of the Universe. You know, Never-Ending Story goes in that one.
Well, it's just a bad story.
yeah, I don't think those compare.
Masters of the Universe needs to be held on Eternia, not on Earth.
I will never forget my mom giving all my Masters of the Universe toys away for $10.
Oh,
there was a bucket.
Because you did something bad, or just to clear
just garage
space?
sale.
I got rid of all my stuff.
And I was like, so where's my stuff? Oh, that stuff went really fast. We made like $20.
Way.
And I'm like, you didn't sell my figurines, did you? Oh yeah, we sold those first. And I'm like,
of course you sold
Same
those
with mine.
first.
All my He-Man, all my Ninja Turtles, all my Muscle Men.
Oh my muscle man.
Man,
Go play with your muscle men.
Speaking of Ninja Turtles, most overused meme on social media today. The Master Splinter walking with the adolescent Ninja Turtles, and then the old Ninja Turtles walking, aging, elderly Master Splinter. Did y'all not see any of that?
No. It's the
classic Ninja Turtles meme where it's like he raised them, and then they are taking care of him as he's old.
So it wasn't not a funny one. It's kind of like a caring one.
It was very much the...
we raise you so you can take care of us.
Timmy, Manu, and Pop. I mean, it's
there
it is.
The Spurs.
Yes,
I was wondering. I was like, what is this relevant for?
No. That was the most.
Like, did your grandma have a birthday?
It got a lot of people. It got a lot of people's social media points today. I saw it used quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Did you want me to pull that clip up?
I do.
Apparently, before you sent me that drunk text, you told me to pull a clip up.
Because I saw one of the funniest things ever.
Okay.
A soon-to-be presidential candidate. I think he's still running with it. One loud Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw the funniest thing. You can tell this is soap opera right here. Look, he's feeling himself. He's feeling himself right now. Look at this. Oh, he's gonna shut that door.
Oh, he thinks he's killing it.
A little WD-40 on that door work a little bit better. Oh, look, he's checking out her ass. Oh!
He pulls a gun, really?
He pulls a gun and caps her, dude. What are you doing?
What is that? What is it? General Hospital?
Yeah, General Hospital.
Are they ABC, I'm guessing? So that's the crossover here? It's got to be Disney, ABC, ESPN.
So I see this. On like, I don't know, on
ABC.
On Face on like 1 o'clock at night, and I'm like, pull this clip so I won't forget.
These are the things you get on our group message threads. General Hospital highlights and me sending LG a video of a dude allowing himself to get bit by snakes. So that was
the argument.
That was your highlight of the weekend.
I was like, "Did you pull the clip? You didn't tell me to pull a clip." I said, "I had to pull a clip," and of course, you can't pull YouTube clips. And I need to make a Twitter.
See, this is why we have LG. He understands the rules.
I got an Instagram, the Captain 210.
Hey,
you can look at my 4 pictures.
Yeah, well, that's 4 more than I have. We need someone to have a significant Instagram presence. LG, you got anything else from the weekend?
I went out. On Saturday.
I went out.
Yeah.
Oh, and where, pray tell?
I went and watched the fight. The Canelo fight.
Oh, very nice.
Which was awful.
Just doing
terrible.
the Mayweather, tapping,
Exactly.
backing away.
It was a poor choice.
But now the super fight with him and Crawford's coming, right?
Yeah. It was funny how they brought Crawford out. I guess that's what they do now.
Yeah,
Just as soon as the match ends, you're staring down your next opponent.
It's wrestling.
In the ring.
It's WWE, man.
Yeah.
It's
shout out to Saudi Arabia where they had the fight. By the way, did you see all the sheiks in the audience, like up front with their falcons on their shoulders? Like,
how do you floss in the the chic outfit? I'm gonna butcher the term.
They flossed it. Those chic outfits look comfy, man.
It's like this is 1,000 thread count Egyptian cotton.
Those sheet outfits, they look comfy, man. I tell you.
Oh man, I'd free ball. This man already free balling.
Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly.
Tell me, it doesn't look badass seeing a sheik get out of like a Bugatti or some sick ass
They'll
Lambo
sit there and do
or something.
donuts and try to ghost ride the whip, and they get flung out.
I kind of think I'm on the opposite end of this. I kind of think it's badass. That's one of the. I actually am somewhat envious of being able to
hit
look
me with
at
my
that
favorite
badass.
drop there.
Being able to look that badass in a full outfit.
There you go.
Cap, you got I would assume, as always, on the weekends, you spent a good amount of time watching baseball.
Oh, yes, man. All right, let's get it with the
breath.
Yankee.
Deep breath.
Yankee Minute. We have the greatest player in baseball to speak of for the past 3 years, one Aaron Judge.
Hard to argue.
Still hitting a solid .438, hit his 11th home run. He's only one back from the leader. He leads in RBIs. He leads in average by at least 80 points. We still have a problem with, starting pitching still needs help. We went 1 for 2, so we're batting doing .500, but we are playing the San Diego Padres, which are red hot right now, and we're up 2-0 in a rain delay. So that's going to be a series. Tatis versus Judge. Tatis is leading the NL in batting average, while Judge is leading the AL in batting average. So this is a solid group, and then we go to a West Coast. Then we go to the West Coast, and I think we're going with the Athletics first. But we're going to do our West Coast trip over there. And shout out to you, Patty. I'm wearing my AC Milan. If you can see it, AC Milan crossed with Yankees.
Okay, a couple things.
It's a good one.
First of all,
what's that?
Massive pet peeve.
You want to touch the bat?
No, I'm good. I don't need to touch the bat. Massive pet peeve. Having team apparel that is specifically in a color that has nothing to do with your team.
Well, it's AC Milan's color.
Staring at that red Yankees hat,
trust me,
drives me insane. It just it trips my brain up because I see the Yankees logo and then I just see all red.
Now, if the Bo Sox are doing good, I can't wear this hat. Like it's like the Bo Sox or the Cardinals, because I have a friend who's a huge Cardinals fan. Shout out to Eric. And he lets me steal his MLB pass that I watch every day. But yeah,
the best kind of friends.
Guess who's not doing too good? The old Red Sox.
Well, they might be on the path to getting right, because they host the Rangers for a 4-game series starting tomorrow. I'm going to mention
your team needs to pull it together.
So
man.
They made some moves. I'm going to mention them in the lightning round, but I told you before the show, I have a good baseball stat for you. So you mentioned the two hitting leaders in the AL, NL, Judge, Tatis. First of all, I don't think many people would have expected the Padres to be doing. I mean, they're a good team, but being the marquee matchup out of that division.
For the past 3 years, they've been dealing. They dealt with injuries last year, but they've had a win now mentality.
Oh, sure, and
for the past 4 years.
Money.
Machado, it started
usually
with Machado, ended with Tatis. They're sitting there grabbing up pitchers. They have the talent to run. Maybe not with the Dodgers because they're just stupid right now.
They're the closest thing to them, though.
Yeah, but they have the power. They have the players. They have the pieces.
So speaking of the players, you mentioned the best hitters in both leagues going up against each other. So in baseball this season, offense is way down. The offensive numbers are way, way down. And this stat...
It's a pitcher's contract year.
So this is what really kind of opened my eyes. Like you hear people say, oh, offense is down, numbers are down, blah, blah, blah. But it's hard to process what that means historically.
Yeah.
So the worst offensive team in baseball in the year 2006. So basically 20 seasons ago.
Well, let me see if I can call it. So I'm going to put Pirates up there.
Pittsburgh Pirates, number 1, led by Canadian Jason Bay. He was the anchor of their lineup. Good player, good hitter. So they were the worst offensive team in baseball in 06. If their numbers, the numbers they put up in 06, if they were doing that so far this season, their team batting average of .263 would be first in all of baseball.
Get out of
here.
The
worst offensive team from 2006 would have the best team batting average of any team this season?
Man,
that's crazy, right?
I don't want to believe that.
That's crazy. Their on-base plus would be 13th, so they'd still be middle of the road. Slugging would be 11th. OPS would be 11th.
How?
So it's
how
offense has gotten that bad as a team.
I mean,
individuals can't carry the average.
Tons of home runs. They're stealing bases. They made the bases bigger.
Okay.
They stopped the ultra shift.
So maybe we're getting a swing back in the right direction, but this year they're historically low. To make it even worse, in 2006, that season, there were 38 players who finished with a batting average above 300. Last year, there were 7. Right.
Man.
So we all talk about how it feels like baseball's in a much better place overall.
Well, because
it is.
You had back then they were still hitting to hit.
Sure.
They weren't hitting for home runs.
Yeah, it wasn't a all or nothing approach.
It's like it didn't matter if you went 0 for 4 as long as you got that home run once every 3 games.
Right.
You know, with
pretty crazy
with
though.
Analytics. That's wild.
When I saw that,
now a stat that I would like to know.
That was also compliments of Bobby Belt on social.
Thank you, Bobby. One of my favorite King of the Hill characters.
Damn it, Bobby.
That's my purse. If anybody catches that reference.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know.
I want to know at this point, at this day, like let's go with May 1st. What was the lowest batting average
overall?
Yeah. I wonder if it's just the beginning of the year shakes, pitchers coming in dominating, and then it's going to average out.
I think you can only go with that for so long. Eventually, there's got to be. Eventually, it's either the
Knicks pulled ahead by 3.
Eventually, it's either the expected average, and that's just how things are going to be moving forward. But when I saw that number, I knew
that's wild.
I know. I knew it would shock you. And as the baseball
Goldie's
fan, you
like
are
350.
Well, I mean, again, y'all are a team that is keeping the overall league average higher than it really even should be. If you remove the outliers, it's way, way worse.
The past 6 to 8 games. We were averaging 3+ runs a game. Now we're averaging 2+ runs. So we're actually in a mini slump.
As a Ranger fan, I would kill for 2+ runs in a game. If we score 2 runs, we win with the starting pitching. Now, I'm going to talk more Rangers in the lightning round. I guess I will get, first of all, some follow-up from last weekend's weekend recap. I talked about that bar soft opening we went to.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching into my pocket right now. This is the first time I've worn.
Get ready to blur it. Get ready to blur it, LG. He's going to blur that.
You might see the portal. It's the first time I've worn these jeans since I was out last weekend.
Oh, man, look at
I found this in the pocket.
Oh, El Camino. What is that?
Palomino.
Palomino.
That was the name of the bar.
Show it to here.
I had multiple people asking which bar it was we went to, and
I can't get it.
I couldn't remember the name of the place, and eventually asked the roommate, and she remembered. And she's been showing me. She got one of these same stickers, put it on her laptop immediately. Loved it. It's cool design.
I like it.
Apparently,
it looks Americana.
I got one as well, and it's been in my pocket of my jeans since the night I walked out of that place.
Oh, and you don't wash your jeans?
No, God, no. Jeans need to be washed like once a month, tops.
Oh, my God.
Because they're denim. You're not wearing them. Anyway.
I'm a messy eater. I spill shit.
Okay, you mentioned that. Messy eater. I'll tell you why I was ashamed to go first.
Fat.
I have... Also, these are skinny jeans, and I was wearing them before. Last weekend, they felt great at Palomino. This weekend, not so much, buddy. Not so much. I have the final Fiesta food count as well as I can remember.
Oh, get that ticker ready, Lawrence.
It's not good. It's not good, fellas. The carnival, where I live, the carnival is literally a 2-block walk. And so
surrounded by all those carnies.
There were nights over the last 10 days. There were less nights where we didn't go to the carnival than we did. So I mean, we went like 8 of the 10 nights just not to ride any rides. Steph got a couple like airbrushed white tees that are pretty.
So do you have like a
pretty
stack
dope.
of tickets, or do you have to just pay with money?
No, food you pay with money.
All right.
So final count.
Oh man,
7 funnel cakes,
that's a lot of dope.
3 pretzels, deep fried pretzels.
I love a good pretzel.
3 chili cheese dogs.
Hey, God. 2
fried cheese on a stick. And I'm just talking about a mozzarella stick.
Oh man,
as big as a chimichanga, just on a stick.
They're just cutting it from a cheese block
Dude,
and
it's
frying
so good.
it.
It's got the same like pancake batter. Like it's like funnel cake batter around fried cheese.
Oh, you didn't say it was funnel cake fried cheese.
Dude, that's the highlight. That's the highlight of the count.
Oh my God.
2 fried cheese on a stick, 2 orders of flautas, 1 Korean corn dog, and 1 bucket of cheese fries.
A bucket.
A bucket.
A bucket.
a full on bucket of cheese fries.
What was that show that would like always show? Oh, Parks and Rec, where it was always like now you can come by and get the mega gold thing.
So it got, you mentioned the Carnies. It got Sweetums. Yeah, the candy corporation.
The diabetes has skyrocketed in this room.
You mentioned the Carnies. It got so bad. The Carnies started. They knew us by like last night when we went.
Oh, they're backdooring y'all?
No, but they're like, hey, good to see y'all again. Like,
oh man,
how you been? It's like
they're friendly folks.
Oh, okay.
They're friendly folks.
I totally agree, and I have anecdotal proof to testify to that. For those that have been listening for a while now, you're familiar with my neighbor Jose over there in the neighborhood, and Jose is a good definition of a good dude. I mentioned to him how, because he walked over to the carnival with us a couple nights, and I mentioned to him how in another world, like a hippie getting on Timothy Leary's bus, I would absolutely want to work the carnival circuit just one time.
Oh my God.
Just to live that life.
Just to rob those poor kids and see their just disappointed faces
what do you mean? There's nothing but
after you're sitting there
smiles.
you're sitting there making it slippery on the bottles and knowing that the basketball can only go in 99.9% of the time.
Oh, you're never winning the games. Yeah, no.
You know, I actually made a basketball on that heavy backspin, bounced around like 4 times, made it. Big ass stuffed animal.
I'm sure the guy was as surprised
it was
as you were.
Yeah, it was at Marley Fest. I was like, oh, the backspin.
Yeah, so my buddy Jose, when I mentioned that to him, I was like, maybe even if I don't go work the circuit, it would be fun to be like a, Hunter S. Thompson gonzo journalist and embed yourself with them and just tell that story.
Oh, it's
got to be what. So,
it's got to be like high school clique groups.
Okay, so it is. So Jose worked the circuit a few years with them because they go from...
Which clique was he?
So they start... he was the newcomers. He was the lowest. It's a caste system. He's the lowest on the totem pole.
What do they call him? The green belt. The
green... Yeah, I mean, he was Greenleaf. He had... they start in Poteet at the Strawberry Festival. Then they do the Alamo Dome for Fiesta. And then they go out to, Helotes... and do the carnival out there. Then they make their way over to Victoria. So he did that circuit a couple years in a row. And he said it literally is, it's a caste system. Like the newcomers are they all have like communal trailers, but the guys that have been doing it for years have their own RV to themselves. It's like a camper, not an RV, but
I had some friends do the fireworks circuit, which is basically
similar.
Like I got to go into the warehouse where it's just a warehouse full of fireworks, man. God help hopefully the fire extinguishers work on that one. But like you get to rent out, like you don't get the good spots. You got to go to this random one. And like the first time they're out there sleeping in their cars, the next year they're sleeping in tents, and then they rented an RV because they realized this was pretty, like, especially during the January one. And January got cold, and then June, you're just sweating. You need AC in your life. You gotta have the AC in life.
I feel like another similar circuit is like the Renaissance Fair people. that live on ground and just
I know
travel.
some of those people, man.
They're wild. They're
fun.
wild.
They're fun,
fun until
they're like,
it's all of a
I
sudden.
got my own axe. I have some in-laws that are heavy LARPers.
Nothing wrong with that.
I've joined a battle or two.
I don't think I would participate, but
we got Wes Harkins says, "Sup Pumas, I'm going to be in GR this weekend." I don't know what was that.
That's Glen Rose.
Glen Rose need me to bring back anything.
Maybe some of my grandpa's moonshine. I'll give you the number.
Oh shit! Some of that apple pie. I need some of that blackberry brandy.
Oh, that's deep South Tennessee. It's apple pie where I'm from. Now, besides the carnival, we ended up going to the print fair at McNay on Sunday, and as much as I love, I mean, y'all have seen my house, like the cool Pixies printed. Print screen, concert posters.
I have not been in the Puma's cave.
I guess you haven't yet. Yeah, you haven't made it. It's because you're never downtown.
Yeah.
The Sunday at the McNay, they had a print fair, so it's a bunch of screen printing. And I guess I should have known better. In my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, we can, maybe go snag, like actually get something, get a nice.
They're still expensive.
Buddy. But
they're still expensive.
I picked one up and I didn't look at the price tag whatsoever, and it was in like a paper frame, so you had to lift the paper up to see the price tag. And I turned to the roommate. I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this one?" And she just stared at me, and I'm like, "Do you have an opinion?" Like, yes, no. And she's like, "Have you even looked?" And I was like, "I don't see. There's not a price tag." I was like, "I thought we just barter. Like, I thought we're just telling the people like, hey, I got $50. I'll give you half of that." Like, yeah,
You think you're on the streets of New Orleans and stuff, like where they're all just selling like.
No, in fact, I was in the middle of the McNay, and the one I held up was like $2,500.
I realized it was the streets of New Orleans where it was like I wanted an original picture. This guy had it, and it was like, man, it was a beautiful picture. And I was like, "How much you selling that for?" And he's like, $15,000. I was like, "You on the street, man?" I was like, "Where's your leverage here?"
He's like, who are you waiting?
He's like,
to
"I
come
got some
by?
prints here for $20," and I was like,
"It's quite
right,
the discrepancy."
Give me the print.
Give
me the print. I was like, "I don't think I can talk you down because I'm not going to pay over $1,000 for this." Even though it was he did good work, and I will tell you, a friend of mine's wife. She actually is a professor, I believe, over in UTSA, man. She does galleries and she does hand-drawn art.
Oh, yeah?
She gets paid. That is expensive work, but she puts like hundreds of hours into it.
I was about to say, again.
It's hundreds of hours, man.
There's very few Andy Warhols out there that are just hitting it rich without
Let me spray this paint real quick, get this little stencil and just boom. $20,000.
Art is one of those things where I can't justify paying for it myself, but I understand why people do.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a trade-off. It's not for me. I'll stick with my old school Robert Summers paintings of the Brazos and Paluxy. But so that all in all, pretty quiet fiesta. There wasn't a whole lot of I didn't hear
much news stories. Not a lot of shootings.
No, not a. There was the one fight of the Edgars at Market, but that was nothing. I mean, even that was a tame one.
Oh,
there wasn't. There was a
bunch of hopping around, jumping in, no fists being thrown.
That being said, you mentioned ABC General Hospital. I understand. I'm in the minority here. I understand that the Flambeau Parade is iconic. It needs to be on ABC broadcast for 3 hours. Let's do a full hour pregame before the parade even starts on KSAT. I understand.
Are you talking about the Fiesta Parade?
Correct.
Never watched it.
And that's why I bring it up, because Saturday night, the Dallas Stars played in a Game 7.
Oh, yeah.
That was broadcast nationally on ABC.
Did they put the parade over?
You know where it wasn't broadcast on ABC, even though this is technically a Dallas Stars viewing market, a home viewing market? You know where it wasn't available on television? Wow. That's all of San Antonio, buddy.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
you got to move up your parade. A Game 7.
Or maybe give me the Game 7 on a sister channel.
Yeah.
Or some kind of like.
So how much did you miss?
Oh, buddy.
How much did people miss?
I didn't watch. I'm not giving ESPN $13 a month for ESPN Plus. So I
swear I thought I watched some of that game.
Well, probably because someone had it on ESPN Plus, or they had a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's technically still. And I joke. I mean, I have.
So they nixed the whole game on ABC.
A Game 7. Stars.
A Game 7.
Yeah.
You know.
I get it. I understand.
Hockey's the 4th best sport.
Right. It's hockey in San Antonio.
It's still sport.
I get it, and it's hockey versus Fiesta in San Antonio.
See a bunch of
I
kids
completely understand.
It's
old-time hockey.
I completely understand the logic behind it, but silver lining. So what I did is I'm a degenerate. I have ESPN Plus. I hate myself.
You just said you weren't.
I hate myself for giving them $13 a month, but I do. And the only reason I remembered I still do is because I needed to watch the game on there. So what I did, I put the game on, muted it, and had the old school radio broadcast going. Which I will tell you.
Did it sync up?
Yeah, there's a what's it called? It's like Sync My or something. There's an app that does it for you. Just like everything
science.
these 1,000% everything these days. But
yes, science.
As a longtime, two things. As a longtime Stars fan, but more as a longtime just radio geek, radio nerd, it was kind of nice.
It was refreshing.
It was refreshing.
They get hype. They get way more hype. And we go to pass. We go going in, and we go into the board. Oh, and he gets onto the board.
Let me give you some video evidence. So, because the game was on ABC, the Victory Plus, the regional app that the Stars own, didn't carry the game because it was a national ABC broadcast. But the play-by-play guys, Josh Bogorod and Daryl Razor Ray, still did the game for the radio audience. But luckily, LG, do you have this? Luckily, the Stars play-by-play guy took video of them calling the game Saturday night. And the game was, first 2 periods, Stars were outplayed. They're down 2-0 going into the 3rd period. This is Josh Bogorod calling. This is the video of him doing the radio call Saturday night for Game 7, 3rd period.
As the Stars now Rantanen shot, score!
Ooh.
Jacket button.
Mikko Rantanen
Game 7, baby.
gets Dallas on the board and right back into Game 7.
Oh, the big guy was able to buy some time and space as really for the first time in Game 7, the Avalanche backed in and capitulated a little bit.
22 seconds left on the Makar Minor. Rantanen in with speed, wraps, he scores!
So great.
Oh, the crack of the voice.
The crack of the voice, so great.
Game 7 is tied!
That was.
Oh, wow.
Mikko,
what period is this?
This is all of this is the 3rd period.
Born out of the blistering speed. He grabs it at center ice,
and you don't show
navigates
this
his way
because
through
of a
3
freaking
defenders,
parade.
and it goes off of the leg of Sam Girard.
They've scored in all but one this series. Rantanen goes low, Duchesne across, score! Wyatt Johnston!
Oh, it's our soccer.
Mr. Game 7 does it again!
So as a radio geek,
he slaps it high bar.
In a Game 7,
them call
is as lethal as a nutmeg
video
injection.
of them calling the game.
Sagan clears
And then here's the
Rantanen
final.
for the hat trick, of course!
Oh, the open net. Yeah.
And that was what ended it.
The
If you picked
Hats
it up,
rain down!
there was
And the
Mikko
Stars will move
Rantanen with the
on.
hat trick 4 points in
You
the
could
third
not
period.
write this any better.
He had the 3 goals and the assist.
Ooh, we got overtime in the Knicks Boston.
Had 4 points in Game 7 and had a 4-point period in Game 7 and Game 6. Mikko Rantanen did, and then the hat trick Saturday night in the third. So something about hearing or something about seeing the radio guys do the call. LG and I were talking before the show. You know,
gets you hype.
It's
a genius idea.
It's a genius idea.
I feel like more teams need to take advantage of live streaming the radio guys. Just throw a camera there. It's real easy to do.
Very low maintenance.
Boom, bam. And then sync the video in
You
the
could
corner,
almost have
just
it
like
like
he
on
had.
like a 20-second delay or something. So
Well,
you know when something good's gonna happen, you put their little box up. You know?
Well, you just have the whole game running up there. Just have a
that would tell you how like a box goes up and it's over on the opponent's side. You're like, shit.
Well, and here's, specifically speaking, we're going to dovetail into some Spurs talk here, but specifically with
Big
the Spurs.
Business loves them some St. Mike.
With the Spurs.
What is it?
St. Miko.
St. Miko.
With the Spurs looking for a new radio
names.
guy, it would just be a great opportunity to, how are we going to get to know the new Spurs radio play-by-play guy better? Throw a live stream on him. Let's see what he actually looks like calling the game. Because
is he going to be the same kid?
No, Bill's retired.
Oh, I know Bill.
Oh, Jacob Toby's back for television.
Though. We're talking about radio.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Also,
radio. Yeah, that's right.
He got a new job. He's going to be doing Golden State's WNBA team. He's their play-by, which is kind of unstable to do the Golden State. He's the voice of the Golden State WNBA team and the Spurs.
So he's going to fly
their
back
seasons,
and forth from...
I think they're about to start their season. Like we could ever know. I
love the complete silence. It's like, does anybody know the WNBA schedule?
Well,
negative Ghost Rider.
I quizzed y'all on the draft a couple weeks ago because we were doing it on WNBA draft night.
I saw a meme. It was, did you know the draft? Like it was.
It feels like they have multiple drafts a year because it always sneaks up on me.
Opening night is Friday, May 16th.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yeah. Right around the corner.
Yeah, so
Caitlin Clark and the rest of the WNBA.
Only
she goes against all of them, right?
They packed out her old college arena this week, and there was like lines out the door 2-3 hours before the game. But yeah, Game 7, man. I mean,
none's better than Game 7.
Dude, it's especially in hockey where
especially
it can just all end so quickly. We saw it last night, Jets and Blues. The Jets end up scoring with 1.5 seconds left to tie the game at the end of the third, end up winning it in double overtime. So,
my buddy is a huge St. Louis fan, and he was happy.
That's too bad.
Too bad for the Blues.
Oh.
He has the Blues today.
Look, St. Louis fans have gotten plenty of good memories against my childhood teams. I think they can.
They're the redhead stepchildren of the Yankees. You think you're us, but
we've waited long enough.
Oh, this one hurt my heart, but
the question of the night: did anybody vote in the mayoral election?
Yeah, of course.
No, you didn't.
I did. There's one right next to my house. It takes like 2 minutes.
Then you were one of 9% of.
I saw 92,000 people voted.
I voted.
Yeah.
I voted. I'll be there on June 7th
for the runoff.
For the runoff as well. Yeah.
Man, I thought I had a snide. I had a snide comment to lead into pop talk.
I voted.
Yeah,
I do my part.
I try.
If it's to cancel out one of these other MFers.
Well, look, dude, when there's 27 candidates in the race,
man, I wanted to do like a whole episode of deep diving on all these.
Well, not only that, but like the district candidates, you couldn't find any information about a bunch of them.
No.
Like nothing.
Did KSAT even do like where they debated?
I think not a debate.
But some of them didn't show up.
Yeah. Again, how the hell are you going to get 27 people on a stage?
Well, they need to do more of a promotion because I didn't see it. I didn't know what the debate. I read up on it.
It also hurts that it's in the middle of Fiesta. Like that's the last weekend of Fiesta. Saturday voting day.
That's some Republican.
It feels. Look, man, I don't know who it is or why or the reasoning behind it, but it definitely feels like we could
get all these Mexicans out
feels
here.
like we could have had a better day for everyone to actually decide our future leaders of our city. But no, let's talk about a leader of our city,
a veteran.
That I'm not sure it's
a man of faith.
I'm not sure. Of course, we're talking about officially Pop stepping down from head coach earlier today.
At my boy Pop.
Mitch Johnson's introductory press conference. And I think the first thing that came to mind is seeing the amount of people talk about just how sad of a day it was.
I loved watching everybody give their memories.
1,000%.
Everyone had a memory. Charles Barkley had a memory. Like, everybody on the TNT broadcast. I mean, what was it? You had Ernie choking up with Chuck, my man that passed away wore the exotic suits.
Craig Sager.
Yeah, Craig Sager.
Who actually was a bit of a
but like Pop used to mess with Craig Sager a lot. But I saw him greet some people and seeing what a stroke, I think we're old enough to all seen what a stroke does. There was physical signs that he was still dealing with it.
Yeah, and that's just gonna be what it is now. I mean, it's that's why, I'm
glad he didn't go out and stress himself out even more.
I mean, that's the first time
he's a passionate man.
That's the first time we've heard him hold court since November.
Yeah,
since the game before.
He didn't want to take the attention away.
No, and this is where you mentioned it though. Because this is what always happens. Obviously, don't need to say it, but like when someone passes away, then you start. That's when you get the outpouring of all of these stories you might not have ever heard.
The memorial.
Right.
Yeah.
And Pop was never going to be a guy, just like Tim, that was never going to announce any kind of retirement beforehand to allow a reunion tour to take place.
Quick update, 108, 108.
No one gives a fuck. We're talking about Pop. No one cares.
New York, all right.
Hearing all of those stories.
3 seconds left.
What's the score again?
108, 105.
Oh, so it's a one-possession game.
It's a one-possession game.
God,
but nobody cares.
No one cares.
Nobody cares.
Now you've got me. Look.
Get back on subject.
Hearing all of those stories.
We're going live.
And allowing people the oxygen in the room to tell those stories about him, that doesn't happen unless he shows up at the press conference today. That doesn't happen if he doesn't stand behind that podium with Manu and Timmy, who we also learned, I heard Don Harris reporting earlier, Manu and Timmy have been with Pop every day at rehab.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I know as someone, we were all three talking before the show. Obviously, you, Cap, LG, both of you all grew up, born and raised here in San Antonio. I've been here 15 years now. For me, the first memories of Pop were him being the mastermind behind the machine that my guys couldn't beat.
Yeah, the Twin Towers. He changed. He's like, he was a Wu-Tang swordsman, man. Many styles. He had the Twin Towers. Then it ran through Timmy. And then he went fast-paced with Tony. And then he had Kawhi where it was, the perfect passing, the beautiful game. Like, there was no father to his style.
No, and you mentioned when we talk about eras in sports, you know, there's, I think for a lot of people, myself included, Pop was kind of the last connective tissue to that childhood era of the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like there aren't, you know, all the players.
Jordan was still winning championships.
1,000%. You know, all of the players you just rattled off from those late 90s, early 2000s teams, all of those guys are out of the league.
Ewing, Akeem, you know, David, Timmy, you know.
Pop was kind of that last connective.
I don't know another one.
Bridge.
Like, except they're working front office like Larry Bird.
Yeah, the front office. But even Larry Bird's, I mean, he's retired now. I don't think he's not even still with the Pacers. There aren't many guys.
The Knicks won.
That still, stealing game one. There aren't many guys that still connect to childhood the way Pop did. And like for me, you know, my first memories of Pop was being the great coach that, you know, while the Mavs were throwing crazy ass Don Nelson out there running Dirk at point guard or Antoine Walker at point guard, you know, the Spurs just always seemed to know exactly who they were and what they needed to do to be champions.
You remember the mess when they put Ginobili on the bench. Everybody just lambasted him, and that's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, finding that balance, and again,
that let us beat Kobe. That let us beat Kobe Shaq. That let us beat Kobe Gasol. You know, that let us sweep King James.
Yeah, the overarching, as someone who didn't grow up here, the phrase Spurs way used to drive me insane as a teenager. When I was in high school, hearing about the Spurs way being the reason they're successful, and
they had a mystique like the Yankees,
very much
the
so.
Yankees way.
Yeah, exactly, very much. And if you're not a part of that, it's easy to find that comically annoying even.
Exactly. It's like, the Spurs way. You wouldn't say that if they weren't winning.
Yeah, 1,000%.
If you didn't get Tim Duncan.
Or if you didn't have Tim Duncan, there would be no Spurs
Robinson.
way without. Buddy, after seeing Timmy and Manu up there with him today, I feel pretty confident in saying there's not another sports organization, another sports franchise that actually, like professionally speaking, has a very specific program and way of doing things.
And everybody's on board.
And every single person is bought in. Every single person is a part of that. From the usher.
Even if they don't like it, like Stack Jack. He didn't like it, but when he played with us, he was bought in.
Yeah, and you can't, again, I think it absolutely helps when you have one of the three best players to ever play the game buy into it.
Yeah, especially Tim Duncan.
Exactly.
You didn't think that man could show a force and be a general like Pop. He would say one of my favorite things is like Tim Duncan talked the best trash because he just go over and whisper in your ear, almost had it.
Yeah, no,
the you'll get it.
Yeah,
all these
dry
little
sarcasm almost.
The little sharp sticking.
Yeah.
Little sharp sticks.
See, and that's where, specifically.
And I bet Pop told him to do that.
I think there's some combo. I think there's probably some combo there.
With this dry humor, I bet Pop went to him and been like, go compliment him.
Yeah, use that.
Go compliment him a little bit.
Use that. I think you mentioning Manu being bought in to the program so much so that he never had an issue coming off the bench. Mentioning Timmy being as great of a player as he was, never having a problem with how things were done. I think those two guys symbolically standing on either side of Pop today was the perfect final image of that era of Spurs basketball.
Pop didn't take his Hall of Fame until they all got
Tony
in. And Ginobili got theirs.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I'll get mine after they get theirs.
It was I think I remember this correctly. It was the same year that Dirk got in too. Mm-hmm. And for me again, wasn't that with Tony?
I think
D Wade.
D-Wade.
It was D-Wade, Dirk. It might have been Pop. Might have been the year before that class. But either way, growing up, obviously bound by region to be a Mavs fan by birth. Dirk's final game of his career. You go into there's Daryl Razor Ray. You go back and watch. Because this is what I've spent all day doing is going back and just watch. The moment where Pop hack-a-shacked Shaq on Phoenix,
the 2 thumbs up,
and then gave him the 2 thumbs up. It's great. I mean, so I'm going.
Shaq just looking at him in the Phoenix jersey, just like he's like you mother.
So I'm going back down those wormholes, right? And I found the video of Dirk's last game of his career here in San Antonio.
We gave him a tribute.
He had the emotional send-off the night before in Dallas in his last home game.
We almost did a better one.
Almost. Well, I'll tell you.
There was talks our send-off might have been better than theirs.
It wasn't that. Let's not get crazy, San Antonio. It wasn't that it was better. It was that it was the perfect representation of the mutual respect between the two parties, between
Spurs,
Dirk and the Spurs.
Yeah.
And it was all led by Pop. You go back and you watch that final possession. Pop is trying to wave Drew Eubanks to get out of the way and let Dirk take a final shot. Yeah. Eubanks doesn't. Dirk makes the shot over him anyway, but you can see Pop in the background just waving at Eubanks, get back. Like
let this man cook.
Exactly. Let this man have his send off. Let him have this final shot, and then the scenes after the game, where Pop and Dirk had a special moment there on the court, and that as someone who wasn't raised
Didn't Dirk
in the
squirt
Spurs,
some tears?
Of course he did. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And to have a such a historically important figures, one from the coaching front office ranks, one from the player ranks, competed against each other. I mean, both the Mavs and Spurs had 50-win seasons every year for 18, 19 seasons in a row. That they were, the Lakers were the biggest rival.
Yeah.
But here in Texas, I mean, it was Dirk could never get past San Antonio, and so
it was like Kevin Garnett, Minnesota,
1,000%, and see Pop give him that respect at the end of that game, at the end of his career. That to me, I mean, going back through all of I know from a Mavs bias through Mavs sunglasses, that was the one that. Like I will never forget that night, and the fact that Pop made it so much better.
Fan.
No, we're not. Hey, update. We're close.
We're close.
We've talked about this before.
The semantics.
I'm done with them. The Mavs are dead to me. There's no.
The Cowboys are coming.
They're moving to Vegas.
They are.
I can't be a Spurs fan in full. I mean, I am wearing my Come On Now Spurs shirt.
Come on now.
I can't be a full-on Spurs fan until I've lived in San Antonio more than any other city in my life.
Oh, my God.
So I had 18 years in DFW. I'm at 15 here in San Antonio. So I got 2.5 more years before I can.
You're closer to Houston. So we've had this talk.
I've never lived in Houston.
Episode 1.
I've never lived in Houston.
Episode 1.
There's not a single, there's nothing.
You gave up on a sinking ship, but you stick with the Cowboys.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
Because the Cowboys never did a trade so bad that the Cowboys have never made a trade so bad that Eagles fans were like, man, I feel bad for y'all. Or Giants fans were like, or Niners fans were like, man, that's really bad. And I genuinely, that happened with Luka. I had Spurs fans that were literally reaching out to me like, hey, man, are you okay? I know that's
How about the ineptitude of not drafting running back or...
Okay, we're not talking NFL. You're not dissuading me from my Cowboys fandom. Not yet. Hey, I believe in Shotty. Let's give him a chance.
Hey,
no, I'm kidding.
Lonnie's in the chat. He remembers the time that we met Shaq's father and mom. We were sitting for roll call tickets. I think Sweet Rick Fox, through a friend of mine, got Rick Fox's will call tickets. And we got to see Shaq's parents, Shaq's stepdad and they. And he looked at me. He's like, what's up, big man? And I was like, that sounded just like Shaq. I was like, so can we get into the locker room, maybe?
Yeah, what else can you do here?
Can we go, like, say hello to Kobe?
Look, we could do this all night. Like that's another great story. When Shaq was here in high school and his dad reached out to the Spurs, asking like, "Hey, dude, my son wears a size 22. Do y'all have an extra pair, maybe that's worn out that we can just get?" And then Pop ends up sending them like half a dozen pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Like just those kinds of things. I mentioned it at the top. There's not another professional sports franchise that is run truly in the sense of being a family and all being on the same page like the Spurs are. And that absolutely started with Pop instilling that kind of program to get us to where we are now. And we're not going to spend a lot of time. We talked about it.
Well, I like what you said earlier, our earliest memories.
Yeah.
So
I was curious because
let's start with LG. What's your earliest memory of Pop there, buddy?
Because y'all were both too young, like whenever he took over for Bob Hill.
It was the 9. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember that at all. I remember the 99 season, the lockout year when they won the championship, and I remember Pop had like this military buzz cut.
Oh yeah,
and that's really like all I remember about that because I wasn't. I remember watching it because my family and my brother was watching it, but I wasn't really into basketball like totally at the time. But I just remember him, being a coach and yelling a lot.
And
he had that. I just remember he had that buzz cut. It was like a military style buzz cut.
So mine was like basketball was never my go-to. Baseball, football. I'd watch hockey over basketball sometimes. But it was when he would just raise hell on Tony his rookie year, his sophomore year in front of everybody. And they had a bunch of national TV spots and stuff like that on TNT. And it was during the whole Jason Kidd talk where they wanted Jason Kidd from New Jersey. And we kept playing them. They kept going to the finals. And I just remember Pop like doing that. I'm just like, man, this guy's an asshole. But then it kind of showed me that it was the tough love when he stuck with him. And the relationship that he has, that he's probably said is my best relationship with the player is probably Tony Parker. That's
and coach and point guard is. I mean, that's the extension of the head coach.
That's
on the
where
court.
he feels like that's my child. Like Tim is like his best friend. You know what I'm saying? But he's like the person that I get emotional about most is Tony, and that's my first memory of him.
Yeah, I think you could say Tim was going to be great no matter what situation he landed in. I don't think you can say the same about Tony and Manu. Like that was more
Tony,
of Pop's
not Tony, but
impact.
Manu. I mean, he already had success with Argentina.
Yeah, but he didn't have enough to make him a first-round pick. Like Tony was still.
I think we were still biased with American players then.
Sure, yeah, it was a very different landscape pre-draft process.
They can't adapt to the American game.
But the
FIBA game.
I still think if you're talking about impact on careers, Tony's number out of the big three. Pop had the most impact on Tony, and then it's Manu, and then Timmy was just going to be dominant no matter where he was.
Timmy went to Boston.
Who coached him?
With that big market.
Or if he had taken that money from Orlando. Yeah, the first memory for me with Pop is the first Mavs Spurs matchup. What was that? 01 or 02. And the Spurs, the way they were able to take everything away from Dirk in the series. And Dirk was starting to become who he was going to end up developing into, was starting to get confidence. And then Pop threw so many different defensive schemes at him that he was an absolute non-factor.
Yeah.
And it took 2 years of going up against the Spurs in the playoffs before they eventually beat them in that Game 7 in 03. Not 03. What was that? 05
Like he couldn't run off a pick. Like they put Bruce Bowen's little.
I was about to say went small on him, and that took away everything. Dirk.
Yeah. So every time he put the ball down, we were swiping at it.
Like I remember Pop from.
We turned it into just a point and shoot, like catch and shoot.
Catch and shoot.
And that's not Dirk. Dirk needs to, work the ball a little bit, work the post.
Yeah, and at that point, and Pop realized at that point, Dirk didn't have the developed game to respond to what they were throwing at him. I remember Pop from the '99 finals against the Knicks, but I don't really remember him becoming, because there was a jump where it was from being the Spurs coach to being a nationally talked about head coach. You talked about the Craig Sager interview, sideline interviews.
It's 3-word responses.
The 1-word answers to 3 questions in a row.
Did you like what you did on this last half of basketball?
No.
Have
you thought about what you can do better? Yes. Do you think your guys will go out and execute it? Yes. Okay. Thanks for your time. Yeah. Hopefully. Right. Exactly. So I think there's Pop the caricature with the 1-word answers and all that.
Yeah.
There's Pop the outspoken political activist.
Yeah.
And then I think at the core of all of that, there's just
the teddy bear Pop.
There's just good dude Pop, like the stories of. Him.
I've never heard anybody say who met him.
Exactly.
And said, like, man, he was such an ass. Timmy was an asshole to me one time when I met him at Best Buy.
Timmy flipped that lady off in the parking lot at Walgreens one time.
I was like, man, I was a little punk kid, but like, I was like, I've never heard a story where Pop was like, get away from me.
No, and I think you'd be, from everything I've read today, I think you'd be really, really hard pressed to find that, because I mentioned it's not just the way he treated the players. All the stories, I saw a bunch of younger journalists, or even guys that aren't young anymore but were young in the late 90s. Brad Townsend, a reporter out of DFW, I think he's with the Star Telegram now, or he might be Morning News. Either way, DFW newspaper writer, sports writer. And he told the story of when the Holtz bought the Spurs and brought Pop back into the organization. Brad Townsend had just been fired by the San Antonio newspaper that he was writing for. So he had been writing. He cut his teeth in San Antonio before going up to DFW. Don't take offense to that. It's just the career path, usually. Bigger market.
You're so cool.
No, it's actually
so cool.
It's actually the opposite. It's actually you don't want to be Chicago, New York, LA. You would rather be San Diego, San Antonio, Sacramento. Way cooler. But no, Brad Townsend said, he told the story. He got a call from Pop, and Pop told him, "Hey, I want you to know, Spurs are selling the team. They're bringing me back into the organization. I wanted to give you the scoop." And Brad Townsend told Pop, "I just lost my job last week. I don't write for the local paper anymore, so you might want to give this to someone else." And the way Townsend tells it is that Pop told him, "No, that's why I'm telling you this, so that you can use it to get your next job."
Yeah, so he can pad his resume.
1,000%. So he can have the break.
What a nice guy.
And that's
what
it,
a
man.
Nice guy,
and that's a guy, again, now Townsend been in DFW for 25 years, 30 years now. His story wasn't all. I saw, multiple of our, and I don't know if they're contemporary. We're not journalists, but multiple of our other media personalities
what the hell is a newspaper?
And bloggers telling the stories of being scared to death the first time they were in the media room talking to Pop, and then walking because again, I think there's this caricature of Pop, and then there's closer to who Pop really is.
He started playing into the caricature.
Of course he did.
But he was so like the last thing Pop wanted to do was talk about a loss that he knew it shouldn't have been a loss. His team just flat out stunk.
Well, he wasn't going to sit and break X's and O's
and then
down
if you ask him the same question, he's going to kill you, dude. He's like, I just answered that.
Yeah.
And he's just giving you those daggers on his eyes like, I hate you.
I'm not sure there's any coach that has ever said more with saying nothing at all at times when it comes to media availability.
That's how my dad makes me feel all disappointed. He'll just sit there and just give me a look and just stare at me like I'm the stupidest person alive. And I'm just like, stop it.
Yeah, just tell me you love me,
trying. I'm trying, man.
Well, don't try, do better. That's what. I was playing ping pong with a girl
Give
one
him some
time,
nasty.
and she was she was not holding up her end of the partnership, and she kept apologizing over and over. And finally, I just said,
"Do better.
Stop apologizing and do better." And it was like she looked at me. She's like. It was like a light bulb. It was like, no one's ever told me that before. She was of the attraction level that no one would ever tell her she did anything wrong.
Oh yeah.
And I was
your swing is working. It's you just got to angle it just a little bit more.
And I'm extremely competitive even when it's ping pong. So I was tired of losing to the point where like I'm never gonna have a chance, and I'm just gonna tell her you got to do better. You got to do better.
Those chicks, like I remember, like a couple of our friends, we always play like sand volleyball when we go down to Port A or, Sal Padre, and they were just horrible. I'm like, hey, just stand at the front, jump up and down constantly so your titties bounce, and let's just distract them. Let us do the work. Distract them.
If nothing else,
start flirting with the other team. We're here to win. We're here to win right now, dude.
That sounds like Coach Pop right there.
I was like, you better be jumping up and down every time I see you.
Oh, on that note, I know a lot of people, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, when we had the reports of Pop fainting at Ruth's Chris. And, I think not that it was hard to predict, but, we said, he's going to end up being president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who they pick for next head coach. And, of course, now we know. LG, do you have some of those cuts from either of you boys watched the press conference this morning?
Yes.
No. Okay. No. A couple of these cuts thought KSAT put out. I know I bagged on.
Which one you want first?
Let's go. I tell you what. Let's go with Pop at first. That first one I sent you.
Okay, I got you.
Pop talking about his new role.
All right. Is that the one where he undresses?
That's correct.
Okay.
He does. He brought props.
Oh, great.
I want to make sure everybody understands what the new job is.
El Jefe.
I'm no longer a coach. I'm El Jefe.
I saw someone put El Jefe down in here, man.
He's also wearing
Chris. He put
Senior
El
Popovich.
Yeah, Senior Popovich on the back. President of basketball ops. He that's a sick ass 90s Spurs. That's from like 96, 97.
Yeah, it looks like
Really?
he dug that out.
Yeah, he specifically
So that was
dug that
actual
out.
shirt from.
Well, not the shirt,
his
the jacket he was wearing.
That jacket looked.
That's
man.
so fly.
I want that thing.
know.
I want to see his starter jacket collection.
Yeah, I thought, oh, God, it's awesome. All the team gear he's gotten over 29 years.
Spurs and Raiders got the best colors, black and white. You know what I'm saying?
Black and silver.
Silver.
I thought, again, Pop was never going to make this about himself. That's as close as we were going to get of him doing a bit calling himself El Jefe.
Yeah.
Because if that's the closest we get, that's all we need, because that was perfect. That was you couldn't have asked for anything better, because he was never going to do a reunion tour. This was the closest thing we were going to get, and him specifically being there, not just to make a first public appearance since November, but more specifically being there to support his successor, Mitch Johnson. This next clip, Pop actually talking about how prepared he feels Mitch is for the role.
Okay.
Mitch has been in the G League for a few years, behind the bench a few years, on the bench a few years, and he took over this year, did a fantastic job. With circumstances that were very difficult. And we saw him in action, and he was brilliant. Players respect him. He'll hold them accountable. And I couldn't be more thrilled for him and his family and friends. It's just a tribute to him. That all the players who were in town were able to come, and especially a special guest, DeJounte Murray, who Mitch has known since he was 9 years old. Since DeJounte was 9 years old. He came all this way just to be here for this day.
Both Seattle guys.
Mitch and I both appreciate it very much.
Yeah, so a couple things there. First of all, I know there's been a lot of rush, and the Mitch Johnson hire is not at all a fully
it's not everyone, a sexy pick.
And not everyone's on board. And I understand there are reasons, there are honest basketball arguments to be had based on what
he got
we saw.
better. He didn't get worse.
No question.
Now put the pieces in there.
No question. And I think if you want to argue over how he was, rotations he was throwing out there in the second half of the season.
Well, that was a tank job.
1,000% it was a tank job. 1,000%.
He knew the playbook.
If you want to talk about some of the rotations he was putting out in November and December when Sohan was injured and he was still an interim title head coach and none of us knew that Pop actually wasn't going to be coming back. I think if you want to have the basketball arguments, there are honest conversations to be had. But most importantly, going back to that clip, the way Pop said he will hold the players accountable. Yeah. I think that is 1,000%. If you want,
we're not going to use Mitch as a scapegoat.
If you want to describe the Spurs way in one word, it's accountability. That's what it's always been. It's always
did you hear that, women? Accountability.
You are accountable. You are accountable to yourself.
Do the Spurs way. You be a part of the Spurs way right now.
Accountable to the Spurs way. Less of a domestic, less of a DV angle to it potentially. But again, tough love. You mention it. It requires. In order to hold people accountable, at times it requires that tough love. Yeah. And if Pop is telling us Mitch has that respect level amongst the players to hold them accountable like that, then I think we have to give him benefit of the doubt and see what that actually looks like as full-time title head coach and not interim head coach.
He had old Tony Parker accountable. He was four-wheeling up in Stone Oak with all the PT strippers.
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a Thursday. Sounds like a hell of a Tuesday night.
We're like, is that Tony Parker going back? He's like, yeah, man. He's got like a different girl every time, and it was like,
let's not bicker and argue.
He was 19. He was 19. They won't give me no champagne yet. They don't give me no champagne yet.
I guarantee you, he's still upset about the Battle of Pueblo. Maybe Wemby's not, but he was.
Man, let's get to this lightning round.
Is it?
It's time. It's time, man. We're almost running into an hour and a half.
What else you got to do tonight? We're doing another show Wednesday.
I know.
Do you have it in you to do another hour and a half Wednesday?
Maybe when yesterday wasn't so difficult.
That's three total hours of work this week.
Well, what else do you have on the sheet?
Well, I got the NBA real quick before we get to the lightning round. I guess we could call this lightning round. The recapping some of my preseason NBA talk, preseason NBA predictions, because
you wanted to get this in.
Well, specifically, I think the most interesting thing, I took the Spurs roster. This was from October 9th, the episode back in October 9th, and put the Spurs roster into 6 tiers.
Okay.
So tier 1 was untouchable. That was Wemby.
Yeah.
Tier 2 was foundation, and on the split between tier 1 and tier 2, I had Steph Castle. So, we didn't know. It's October. We don't know what he's going to be. Mm-hmm. If he has a good rookie year, he slides into untouchable, which now might not be true because he might be included in a potential Giannis trade. But that's
not Stephen Castle.
It might take it if you want him.
I think
we'll save that for Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I had Castle floating, and then foundation was Vassell, Sohan. I'm not sure. I think jury is still out on both of those being foundational pieces, which also could end up being included in a big deal this summer. But the most interesting thing to me, tier 3, I had vets / trade pieces, and that was CP3, Barnes, and Keldon. And then in tier 4 was just called, respectfully, called placeholders.
The bench players.
Guys just
Barnes.
holding a place on the roster. Well, no, at the time it was Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Champagny, Bassi, and Mamu.
Okay.
So looking back on the
freaking tears.
Looking back on the Spurs trade for De'Aaron Fox, the fact that they only gave up quote unquote placeholders in Collins and Trey Jones.
Yeah. That's
and
ridiculous.
end up with the best player in that trade. I mean, Zach LaVine ends up going to Sacramento because Sacramento still wanted to push for a playoff spot. But the fact that looking back on it,
it's a ridiculous.
That the Spurs got De'Aaron Fox without giving up Wemby, Castle, Vassell,
He's still got 1 year on his contract?
Well, he signed he's locked in now.
Well, I know he's locked in with us, but with when he was in SAC, he was. So they were just trying to get anything for him.
Yeah, they were holding, and specifically they had the owner that was trying to compete, win now. So they wanted LaVine back instead of young pieces like Sohan or potentially anyone else.
SAC just sitting there, well, I guess they did the LaVine trade because they want to go to Vegas, right?
I think it's. I think
they want to flick that bean in Vegas.
I think first of all, I think if any team ends up in Vegas, it's probably going to be the Mavs, and then.
Dallas is a big market.
It is, but so my guess, Mavs stay in Dallas, but the Adelsons sell them back to somebody else, and then end up getting the expansion team there. But the only other one. First, just looking back at how much they fleeced Sacramento and Chicago in that Fox trade, but I did last week of September, first week of October, did some over-under predictions of each team in the East and the West. So, for example, Atlanta was predicted to win 36.5 games. They end up winning 40, so they hit the over.
Yeah.
I said under, so I was wrong on that one, which was hoping Atlanta would be under because that would have helped
we got a
Spurs with the
draft
pick. So overall, predicting over-unders at the beginning of the season, I went 8-7 in the East. I got 8 correct and 7 wrong. And in the West, I got 7 correct and 8 wrong. So if you can do the math at home, that is an exactly 15-15 record. Dead even.
You ain't making no money.
No money whatsoever.
Even Steven.
The biggest misses, I missed Atlanta, I mentioned. Missed Chicago as well, which I think that was biased because I wanted both of those to be under. Really missed Detroit. Did not have Detroit as a 6 seed. I thought they would be better and in the play-in.
Oh, Detroit, man, did awesome.
Really
man.
good.
I like their defense and Cunningham coming into his own.
Well, actually looking like a former first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And then in the West, of course, missed Dallas because of everything that happened there. Missed Sacramento because I didn't really anticipate them getting fleeced, trading their best player to another Western Conference team. And then lastly was way, way off on Phoenix. Of course, we know the drama there and them potentially trading KD this offseason. So you'll be happy to know, though, although you updated me earlier that the Celtics lost game 1 tonight against the Knicks, I predicted Celtics Nuggets in the finals. So at least both my finals, I said
They're
that.
still alive.
I said that on October 9th.
Oh, did a big stretch there. That was a hard stretch. The Celtics and Nuggets. Joker.
Look,
Joker, 3-time MVP now.
It's the NBA. The Nuggets weren't in the finals last year. They weren't even in the Western Conference finals last year. I felt like
happened, man.
Well, they also fired Malone the last week of the season. All right, let's get to the lightning round.
Hit it, LG.
So we talked about it at the beginning, of course, with the Stars. Stars head coach Pete DeBoer, 9-0 now in Game 7s in his career. The only coach in professional sports that has a similar undefeated record Red Auerbach, the only other guy to be 9. And I think there's actually one more, but the name that Red is the one that stands out. So the Stars won that Game 7. But we talked about it for the casual fan.
You're going to make Red Auerbach and your hockey coach. You can't compare them. You can't compare them.
No, you can't at all. There were 9 teams in the league. Like winning a Game 7 back then was nowhere near. Being 9-0 in Game 7s that all took place after the year 2000, that's insane for a coach of any sport. But for the casual fan, we get 2 Game 7s in the NBA, 2 Game 7s in the NHL. Warriors Nuggets win their Game 7s in the NBA.
More Draymond Green.
Would you rather have more Draymond or more Houston Rockets basketball? Give me more of the actual. Give me more of the actual Hall of Famers making one last run together.
This man said Draymond was a generational talent.
Do you want to talk about that real quick?
No, I do not. Hit me with the lightning round. They have created, there is a new biotech, Nucana applied proteid technology, basically where a fungus has boosted cancer research, cancer fighting research 40 times.
Oh, so it's like the Mike Judge show that was just on the common side effects. They found the mushroom that will cure everything.
Yeah, that it says it helps cure cancer 40 times better. So
it's better than
we're gonna
than
live
nothing,
forever.
I guess.
We're gonna live forever, baby.
Let's not get too crazy. But I do love the idea of something naturally growing being the basis of mass medicine.
I'm a fun guy. I'm a fun guy.
Man, you should ask the roommate. One year, she wanted me to go as a fun guy.
Yeah.
I'm just not the Halloween type.
I'm not a dresser.
I just couldn't do it.
I'm not a dresser.
Her costume was awesome, though. She was a fun gal, but it didn't work without the fun guy. Give me the interstitial, LG. So a generational talent means.
Oh my God!
No, I'm kidding.
Mother.
Well, it means that you're a Hall of Famer among your
Bruce
generation.
Bowen went against Kobe and all those shooting guards. He's more of a generational talent than.
That's insane. That's insane.
You're insane.
One of those is a Hall of Fame, a future Hall of Famer. The other isn't.
Yeah, he's only a future Hall of Famer, man.
No,
because he runs his mouth.
The other, and also plays great defense and has more assists per minute than most people at his position. Anyway, the other Game 7s in the NHL talked about the Jets, talked about the Stars, talked about the Warriors and Nuggets. Does it bother you at all whatsoever that yesterday there was a Game 1 of Round 2 played before a Game 7 of Round 1? That's unstable.
How are they gonna
We had Cavs Pacers at 5 o'clock.
You're gonna have someone sit out 5 games before
5
they
days.
go.
4 or 5 days. Unstable,
before.
untenable. That was just my last thoughts on the NBA, NHL.
Right, hit me. Mike Tyson once offered $10,000. Everybody's heard about the gorilla debate.
We're back on the
100 guys versus a gorilla. Mike Tyson once offered, I'm sure he was not high on cocaine, offered a zookeeper $10,000 to let him in the cage and fight a silverback.
And the zookeeper said no because he will destroy you.
That would be manslaughter.
He will destroy you in seconds. Okay, here's the question.
I can see all Mike Tyson. I got him. I can't get that high voice.
You're not going to be able to.
I got him now. I got him. Come on.
100?
That was that's probably the worst Mike Tyson impression.
Well, it can only go up.
It can only go up.
It can only get better. 100 25-year-old Mike Tysons versus the gorilla. The gorilla still just slaughters.
What if you just work on the gorilla's nuts? Just work on them.
Okay, so I think you would have to be prepared to.
Mike Tyson just comes in with the low whoop right there.
You would have to be prepared to give it something certainly unsuitable for 9:30 on a Monday night. You would have to get creative with how you attacked, and I think that would absolutely start with finding the weak.
And speaking of it, AI was asked if 100 Tom Aspinalls, he's one of the top UFC fighters.
Oh, that's why that name means nothing.
Yeah, could beat a gorilla. Gorilla is 4 or 5 times. Basically, the AI, or A1 as our Miss McMahon likes to call it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, poor
said it would only take 20 to 30 Tom Aspinalls to beat the gorilla. That's what AI. That's our future right there.
I was about to say,
that's our future that's going to control us. Says 20 of us can take on a gorilla. You're full of shit.
How is that?
Full of shit,
I
man.
take that as even more of a reason to be
Did China hack that AI?
Worried about. Yeah, China wants us to go 20, 30 dudes at a time and attack
he's like,
gorillas.
go fight those gorillas.
Give me an interstitial, LG. Oh, I joked about the Pee-wee riding his bike. I joked about the Rangers' offensive troubles. Did you know there was something called an offensive coordinator in baseball?
An offensive coordinator?
Yes.
What did he do? Make the lineup?
So
that's the manager's job.
It's basically like your overarching offensive coach, who then you have a hitting coach under him. It's just so the Giants started.
So he makes suggestions.
Basically, he kind of creates the outline of the system, of the program, of the hitting approach, and then the coaches, actually do the coaching and execute it. So I don't think they were the first to have it, but the Giants, when Bochy was there in the late aughts, early teens, that was their a lot. Not that it was given all the credit, but a lot of the offensive credit was given to their offensive coordinator at the time, and it was a bit of a newfound. So all that to say, the Rangers had an offensive coordinator. They don't anymore. They fired Donnie Ecker, end up putting Leody Taveras on waivers, but it sounds like Evan Carter, the stud prospect, is going to get called up to play center field every day. And then here's a name, a blast from the past, former Mariner legend, a guy that you'll appreciate, Brett Boone.
Oh, sweet Brett Boone.
Brett Boone has been named Rangers' new hitting coach as of this afternoon.
He's not bad.
Look, again,
brother of one Aaron Boone.
Okay, all right. Interstitial.
Aaron effing Boone.
Before this becomes a Yankees double minute.
All right, give me. Get to the chopper! All right. Dallas Cowboys signed Beefy Wagons.
No, what are you doing?
Beefy Wagons.
Now you're getting ball sacked. This is a ball sack sports headline.
Man, I was hoping that was true. Nah. Well, I'll do it on a happier note. Even though it's hard for me to say anything good about this team because I loathe them so much, Isaiah Pacheco is donating his whole paycheck next year and bonuses, which is equal to about $3.5 million, to invest in these houses for homeless youth in Kansas City. That is some entrepreneurial. That is some philanthropy shit.
Yeah, that is.
That's amazing, dude.
You sent me the details. So specifically, it's like he's buying 3 houses.
Well, basically, he's buying these huge mansion types houses, and he's making they're gonna renovate it where it's like little dorm rooms.
Yeah, it's gonna be like living quarters, like
little dorm rooms. So they have
like
somewhere
a boarding
to go,
school almost.
And of course, they'll have structure and stuff like this. You know, these billionaires and everybody wants to sit there and want to talk about how do we get rid of homeless crisis. It'd probably take $100 billion to build a bunch of little dorms.
All right, well then go out and earn $100 billion and then do it yourself. Like
right on
Pacheco.
top of that, Rose. Yeah. Right on top of that, Rose.
Oh, give me one more interstitial, LG, and we'll get out of here. Lastly, I've got. I'm gonna save snakebite guy talk for Wednesday's episode, because if you missed the beginning of the program, we will be back live Wednesday night, 8 o'clock again. We'll close it out with a shout out to my real good buddy Jenny Lee over at Y100, former Magic 105.3 personality, it was announced over the weekend that she is the new morning, one half of the new morning show on Y100 over there on Cox.
Congrats
yes.
to you.
It's a yay boo situation because yay Jenny Lee got hired, but boo her partner apparently had some issues, some complications with one of his kiddos. Son had to be hospitalized over the weekend, so they postponed. They were supposed to go live this morning. Of course, postponed, allowed him to take care of his kiddo, his boy, his family situation. But hopefully, as soon as they can get a good bill of health for his son, I believe his name's Eric, he will be pairing up with Jenny Lee over at Y100. So
there you go.
as someone, we started the show talking about being an old school radio nerd. Still love to see my longtime. Jenny Lee was one of the first people I met in radio when I started out at Cox and was working on the Billy Madison show. Well, it's even better because it was the Cox Media Billy Madison show promotional team. I was setting up tents.
Quit looking at me, Swan.
Handing out stickers and from there end up.
I'll show you a grown up.
Finding myself in parts unknown, broadcasting the Sports Cave live here. I think that'll do it for Monday night. We still got a lot left on the bone for Wednesday. So again, we will be back live. We got Stars and Jets game 1 Wednesday night. So
very nice.
You can feel confident we won't go. I know you're worried about it. You're staring bullets through me.
Man.
On that note, we'll see y'all Wednesday night. Peace.
See ya.
Kids, what do we say about drugs?
Only thugs use drugs. Stay low to drugs.